Hello everyone, my name is Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is October 17th, 2024, and this is an urgent update. This is not clickbait. This is an urgent update. Bitcoin is on the verge of breaking out. And this breakout is targeting 80K. I've talked about it before. 80K is now once again in play. This is very, very, very important for Bitcoin and even more important for altcoins. If that sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get started. Okay. Context of this is today is the full moon, October 17th. I talked about this. I said first in my last video, and you can go and see this. I'm not going to be obnoxious and play my shit again. You can go and, check my last video out. I said Bitcoin was going to hit 67 or 68K. I said in my last video, 68K was the target. As you can see, I put an alarm right here. That was my target. Look, this was hit almost to the penny, to the dollar, okay? And that was our resistance. 68K was hit, okay? So we said likely going to find resistance at 68K. And after that, I was expecting some sideways price action. I was expecting some consolidation and a dump back down to about this region right here, okay? I said this was going to happen in the coming days. And I said, expect to find a bottom at or near this day, today, October 17th, because this is the full moon, and full moons historically, statistically represent local market bottoms. So for a few days, I've been watching the price action. I'm always watching the price action. And I was like, okay, I expect that. I expect this consolidation, this sideways price action. But I'm not seeing weakness. Okay? And I'm going to get into the minutia. I'm going to get into the details of what I saw that was really telling. And I'm like, okay, initial break of structure, right? Just like we expect. And then I'm expecting this. And I'm like, hold up. This isn't that. And earlier today, I saw definitively that what I thought was a distributive range, some sort of consolidation for breakdown, was actually a reaccumulation, meaning this is going to break out. And I'm going to show you why on the smaller time frames, guys. I'm going to show you why. More importantly, Bitcoin is now targeting once again 80K. And I'm going to show you why it's targeting 80K in a moment. But if Bitcoin is targeting 80K, that means from here, like a 19% move. Altcoins are finally breaking out. Finally breaking out. Altcoins are about to do numbers. Big, big numbers as a result of Bitcoin. And this is why the whole thesis of my analysis on this channel is using Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Because if Bitcoin is dumping, it's very, very, very unlikely that altcoins are not dumping or dumping more than Bitcoin. But when Bitcoin pumps even a little bit in a bull market, altcoins pump superbly. Okay, this is why it's very unlikely to see Bitcoin doing one thing and altcoins doing another in the grand scheme of things. I'm not saying one random sort of isolated asset here or there. I'm talking in the grand scheme of things, in the overall cryptocurrency market. Okay, let's look at the details. First thing I promised you, I'm going to show you why I saw weakness here and why I no longer see weakness. Let's go on a 15-minute time frame because I really want to show you the detail. The devil's in the details right here. Okay, so the first thing I saw, which really told me, okay, Dean, you were absolutely correct. First, the price went up to your target, almost to the dollar. You said it was going to go to 68. It went to 68. And look at this strong rejection. This is what we call a swing failure pattern. The price went up and it came down and it made a lower low. It broke the lows. In a, generally speaking, again, generally speaking, in an impulse, you make higher highs and higher lows, but you don't make a lower low only when you only make a lower low when you're breaking resistance. When you're breaking support, when you're retracing on that impulse, okay? And once you retrace on that impulse, then you still hold certain levels and then you keep going. But the initial break of structure is basically the start of that 5 waves up, 3 waves down. That's basically telling you that 3 waves down is coming in your impulse, right? So we had an impulse, and this to me was the start of the initial break of structure. So I was expecting a 3-wave move of this kind, okay? Going down to the levels I showed you before. But why is this not it? And what is Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin right now is putting in what we call in Elliott wave theory a running flat correction. So there are flat corrections, run-of-the-mill flat corrections that look like A, B, C. Running flat corrections, they look like this. A, B. B comes much higher than A, and C kind of goes sideways and chops a lot. This is exactly what we're seeing on the charts. A running flat correction. You can look it up in the textbooks. And it's basically a flat correction. When a flat correction happens in a scenario or in an environment when there's so much buying pressure, that this B wave goes much higher than the A wave started, and the C wave can't even come down normally. Okay, when I started seeing this pattern, I'm like, hold up. And this was it for me. Once we started moving up and out of this, I'm like, this is a running flat correction. Bitcoin isn't correcting. It's reaccumulating. And that reaccumulation has to be targeting 80K, and I'm going to tell you why. So basically, in a nutshell, let's go back on the hourly time frame. This impulse that we initiated on the 11th, when we went all the way down here, I'm trying to get my pen to initiate. We went all the way down here, grabbed liquidity, and then came up, okay? That impulse is still going on. And don't expect it to stop anytime soon, because this 67, 68K region, indeed, my pen all of a sudden stopped working. All right, let's improvise. Right here. Right here, this region was indeed resistance. It was indeed resistance, but it wasn't resistance enough to stop this impulse. So now you have to zoom out. You have to zoom out to understand what's likely going to happen. What is likely going to happen is this. First of all, let me remove this because this has already been hit. We've already made that point. What's likely going to happen is that this breakout that started again on the 11th from 58.8 continue and hit the next logical resistance. This was a staunch resistance. We had been in this descending broadening wedge, this megaphone pattern for 6 to 7 months. Now that resistance is broken. It had to break at some point. All right, we came up, went, whoops, sorry, I don't have my Let's try my pen again to see if it works. Still doesn't work. It's okay. Let's improvise. Came up, came down, grabbed some liquidity down here. Now the push up. This push up goes all the way to 80K. Why 80K? That is the following logical resistance. You gotta just look at the next levels of resistance, right? One after the other. The next level of resistance is going to be the 80K region for two reasons. And I've already stated this, but I'm going to reiterate. One, you have this resistance right here. Excuse the non-straight lines. I'm using my mouse trackpad to draw. This is a multi-year resistance of a channel that Bitcoin has been in. And that 80K level is pretty much the top of that channel. Okay, this channel goes on for about 2+ years. Okay, so that's one. The second reason is that this level, don't be fooled. This level is previous resistance. This is a 6 to 7 month resistance that Bitcoin had been in. It will be retested as support. This is a principle in trading. Previous resistance must be flipped into new support. This is what we call an RS flip, a resistance to support flip. You have to do that in order to move on. Do not be fooled into thinking that just because we're breaking this resistance right now, that we performed a cursory running flat correction that happened to kiss the top of this resistance, that is sufficient. No, in my experience, absolutely not. What you're going to see is a run up to 80K and then a retest coming down here. And the only way you get a retest of this entire move, let's try that one more time, of this entire move from 58.8 all the way to a purported 80K resistance, is if indeed you do one of these very common 618 retraces. So you take your impulse from the 11th, okay, and you trace it all the way to 80, and you come back, you find resistance at the top of this multi-year channel's resistance, and you're coming back down very nicely late October, early November, late October, okay, so around here. So you go up, and you come back down here, and you're doing two things in this way. And I hope you can see this. I hope you can tell what I'm trying to convey on these charts. Let's try the pen again. Let's see if it's still being stubborn. I'll fix it later. It's okay. You're gonna go up to this purported resistance. You come down. You retest the 618 as most impulses are wont to do. And you retest the top of this descending broadening wedge. And you're retesting the midline of this multi-year channel that you just got rejected at the resistance of. And why is that last point important? For those of you who don't follow my work, please understand this point. I always say it on the channel. Channels have three main aspects, three principal aspects of channels. The support, the lower support, the top resistance, right? And the midline, which is support when you're above it, resistance when you're below it. What have we been doing? We've been finding resistance at the midline of this multi-year channel. Boom, hit our heads here. Boom, hit our heads here until we broke it. So what's going to happen? This retracement from 80K all the way back down to 66K is going to be a threefold retracement. One, it's going to retest the top of the descending broadening wedge that we've been in for 6 to 7 months. The second thing it's going to do is going to retest the midline of that multi-year channel. The last thing it's going to do is it's going to serve as a 618 retracement of your typical run-of-the-mill impulse. So this is a high probability read. This is the same type of read that I used to say, hey, we're likely going to hit 68K and find some resistance. That's going to be a pit stop of some sort. This is that same logic using, tried and true trading principles of support and resistance, okay? It's not even some convoluted arcane Elliott wave analysis. It's just regular run-of-the-mill support and resistance. That's the way I like to analyze, because the simpler, the more likely, right? The more complex, the more convoluted, the less likely in my experience. So that's what I see Bitcoin doing. Once again, that's a 19-20% move. In that time, altcoins are going to do something amazing. Because if you come to, let me fix this. If you come to our market cap Bitcoin dominance chart, you'll see that we're at another resistance. Okay, but we've been really playing with resistances, for a long time on this chart. As you can see here, it's just been resistance after resistance after resistance, bounce down, come back up, bounce down, come back up. We're at resistance here. We're likely going to bounce down as we've been bouncing down, but this, again, at this point, is more likely than not to bounce down and break the channel it's been in, okay? That's what I'm seeing on this Bitcoin dominance chart. So, two scenarios. One, we do indeed bounce as we've been bouncing, right? Because this is a channel and this is the top of the channel. We do bounce, okay? That will still give us indication of altcoins outperforming Bitcoin. So altcoins are going to fly somewhat. But altcoins really fly when this finally breaks. And just like Bitcoin finally broke 68K, that 6 to 7 month resistance of that descending broadening wedge, guess what? This is going to break, but then it's going to retest before continuing down. So that's what I'm seeing. This is why this is so exciting. This is why I had to do an emergency update. Hope this was helpful. I hope this was useful. Like, share, and subscribe. If you got value, consider buying me a coffee at the pinned comment below. And I will see you next time. Take care. Hope you make money in this next run. Bye.